Hello, we are B4C-Network and welcome to our podcast. Where meaningful conversations and engaging discussions take center stage. As one of the hosts, I would first like to introduce what? Sabihin mo.
Okay. So, mic test, mic test, mic test.
Like
No.
this.
Ay, mic test
Okay.
muna.
Hello.
Chat.
Okay.
Easy. Mic test bro. Mic,
Like this.
mic test.
You
Like
working?
this.
Test.
Working.
Good.
Working.
Hey, tapping the camera. Ay, tapping the camera. Tapping the shot bro. Working, test. Yeah, good. Alright, we can go now.
Hello, we are B4C-Network and welcome to our podcast. Where meaningful conversations and engaging discussions take center stage. As one of the hosts, I would first like to introduce myself. I am Janica. I'm here together with my other members who are
My name's Lance.
And I'm Rodena.
And I'm Clyde.
And I'm Trisha.
So today, we are thrilled to share our vision for a vibrant and engaging podcast streaming experience and welcome you to join our podcast. So sit back, relax, and chill as we talk about today's topic about TikTok addiction and its effects on teen parent relationships.
So I would just like to ask a question. Have any of you guys used TikTok? Because personally, I have used TikTok a lot of times.
I've used it a couple of times, but I don't exactly use it a lot.
I see.
Me too.
Yes.
I use it a lot, to be honest.
Yeah,
Same with Rodena.
I see.
Do you notice like anything negative from using TikTok?
Well, to me, since my For You page, my algorithm, it doesn't have that much negative stuff in TikTok.
I think the negative effect is only that it distracts me from things I need to do.
So, like, do you think that also affects like relationship wise to bring it else like that?
Well, yeah, I think it could affect people's relationships, especially with friends and families, maybe even romantic relationships.
I mean, it depends on the people who are watching it.
I see. Well, let's carry on to the topic then, which is social media addiction and its damage to and its effect to family relationships.
And the and the like video and the identity. There is in
I see.
I think our member has a slight technical problem, but I think from what she's trying to say is how sometimes we will be like scrolling on our phones, right? We probably on TikTok or social media platform, and we tend to be focusing on that social media platform. Let's put it into a situation. Let's say you're out with your family in a mall, and let's say you're on your phone, right? You're having fun outside with your parents, but instead of interacting or talking to your parents or having this quality time you can give them, you're focused on your phone. You're not exactly paying attention to your parents or people you're with. So instead of creating this meaningful connection together while you're outside, you're focused on your phone. I think that's what MJ was trying to say. Um, have you guys like ever experienced something similar when you're outside? But instead of paying attention or spending time with people around you, you're focused on your phones.
Well, yeah, I've actually experienced that back in 2020, where the pandemic. There is obviously a lot of people using the internet, and one of the means to use the internet is back then and even now is TikTok. And sometimes you can just get a little bit too lost into the app and you just get distracted and you just don't you're not aware of your real life surroundings anymore, and it's kind of hard. Yeah.
Were you able to like ever notice you were like endlessly scrolling?
Well, not really, because obviously I'm too invested in the things I'm watching, so I tend to realize it too late. So yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of social media platforms. So I guess getting lost in social media is quite easy.
So let's carry on. So obviously, how teen pair relationships are affected by TikTok. So we got to know how social media affects relationships. So I will split this into three main topics. First is the inability to stop using social media. So obviously, if you use TikTok once, it's not gonna have that much effect on you. But the more you use it, the more you're invested in that app. It's kind of a lot like cigarettes or maybe anything that can make you addicted to something. So, and the more you use that app, the more it just gives you that dopamine and that the brain, the more it stimulates your brain. So the second part is addiction to social media can damage communication. Well, this can happen in two ways, which is online and in real life. There's this thing in online where it's called internet slang, and some people might use it a bit too much, which can lead to using it in real life. So abbreviations or like shortcuts like lamau, for real, and like for. So this can often lead to some misunderstandings between people, and it's not just internet slangs that can damage communication. It is also because of disturbed sleeping patterns, anxiety, depression, loneliness, and self loathing, as well as the inability to communicate properly in real life. Now, lastly, is the third point. The third point is reduce time spent with friends. So obviously, when you use TikTok or you invest your time in an app, social media, you will obviously lose more time spent with your family. It's just like what me and Janica have discussed earlier on in the podcast. So obviously, your family is going to be sad because you're not spending time with them as much. And that can be pretty sad. And I've actually experienced something like this, not just once, but twice. And I've come to a realization that TikTok or any kind of social media really can really damage someone's mental and physical state.
So, in this, from what you've said, would you think that substance abuse, such as like cigarettes or alcohol, could social media addiction? Because from what you said, it's pretty much similar from using it like on a regular
AJO.
basis. Like, oh,
Subscribe
it's
to the channel.
okay, and then your addiction starts to add up. You get this dopamine effect or serotonin,
Sell and
and
subscribe to the
you
channel.
feel these chemicals just start to use up a lot more. You think it's like similar to substance abuse?
Well, I wouldn't say, well, yes, I would say it is similar, but the effects of what they do isn't. But it still has the same aspect into it where they get addicted and it has some kind of stimulation to their brain, stuff like that.
So, as for recently, there's been like a lot of social media stuffs, and people have been glued to their phones a slight bit, and this kind of increased during pandemic, if we've noticed, because people are stuck at homes. Ever since that, people tend to stick to their phones. Recently, there's been a lot of platforms and social media sites that copy or mimic the way TikTok works because there's short form videos. So there's short videos and you scroll, the infinite feed just keeps feeding you videos and videos. Um, so people tend to become more addicted to social media now because of that. Those updates and some of these social medias could be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter. Um, I think it's mostly because of the algorithm or the way they program this the short form videos because it will they take note of what you like and what you usually watch and then they just continuously feed it into the feed. Do you guys like experience something similar to TikTok and other social media platforms?
Yeah, actually, there's this thing on YouTube called YouTube Shorts, where it basically has the same thing with TikTok, where it's just like what you said, short short form videos and endless amount of scrolling, and it also has the same effects to me when I use YouTube Shorts. It's just the same with using TikTok.
And hello, I'm Rodina. And I'm going to talk about how TikTok can become addictive. The causes of TikTok addictions are wide, but in this podcast, it will be focused on the algorithm and the user interface. The user interface and the algorithm work hand in hand, keeping the user entertained and interested, therefore pulling the user who has short attention span into what is called flow experience. Have you guys experienced this flow experience?
I've experienced it a few times. It's pretty hard to get out of.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this thing called For You page. It is the first step that you see as you location. A video immediately playing as soon as it loads. The video is created to feed the user's For You page and are tagged and can be liked, shared, or commented on by any user. The user For You page on what the user likes, is interested in, liked, commented on, and etc. Which lead which leads us to TikTok's algorithm. Have you guys experienced the algorithm, like it's referring to what you're watching and what interests you?
Counter that a lot. I don't use TikTok, but I do use YouTube. And I think it works somewhat similar because whenever I like a video from a content creator and then I scroll a few more, I see the same content creator later on.
Mhm.
Same happens in TikTok as well, where when I like something or comment or you share, it just something similar to it pops up when I scroll further from my for you page, and sometimes it kind of creeps me out, but it's yeah, it's fine with me anyways.
So, because of the TikTok for you page, it is created to be an infinite feed by the simple movement of swiping up and down to go to the next or previous video, which makes it easy for the user to be entertained and consume all the presented medias. These aspects can lead to addiction. So, in my opinion, for me, TikTok did make me slack off because of how distracting it is. It's very easy to use and gives me an infinite feed. How about you guys?
Well, yeah, actually, since there's an endless amount of scrolling in TikTok, like we've all said before, you're just in that place in your brain where you just can't stop scrolling, and the moment you realize you've scrolled too much, it's too late. It's either 3 a.m. in the morning, or you probably already forgot that you're cooking something and it's already burnt. So, yeah.
Thank you for that. So now let's tackle hello everyone. I would like to introduce myself again. I am Trisha. I am one of the hosts for today. And now I would like to discuss how we often hear about social media can strain romantic relationships. But what about relationships with our parents? As you know, TikTok consists a worldwide spread of influences that has changed a lot of teenagers today. Those influences can either be a positive or negative impact on your behavior, mental health, physical health, and especially your relationship with your parents. Now, how does this impact the teen parent dynamic? Well, one of the one of the key element in any relationship is communication. TikTok's addictive nature can hinder effective communication, leading to misunderstanding, conflict, and lack of emotional connection, which is one of the reasons why most teen parent relationship are shattered or damaged nowadays. So like, do you guys agree na hey the lack of communication can actually hinder or damage the teen parent relationship?
Yes. Lack
Yes, and
of. It's a fight, so you can go on. You can go on.
no, no, you go first. You go first. Go.
Okay, so
So
obviously, lack of. See, it's just like what happened now. We don't have that communication, which is why we messed up right now. So the same thing can be applied to teen parent dynamics, where if a teenager or a parent has some sort of like no communication to each other whatsoever, there's obviously gonna be some misunderstandings where it either can be very detrimental to a teenager or the parent, and yeah.
server because it since we can't like mind read, we don't have this power where we just connect brains. So of course we have to talk. We have to communicate what we think or what we feel or how we see things. If we disconnect that sort of communication between the teen or the parent, they won't be able to help each other to improve their relationship.
That's true, that's true. So like nowadays teenagers often hide their emotions and lie about everything because they lack communication. And some parents take it to the point that they would invade their child's privacy and discover some secrets that may lead to misunderstandings. And that's where TikTok comes in. After using it and to try and understand others' perspective, we've noticed that some teenagers like to open up on social media because they believe that hopefully a lot of people would understand. But sadly, that's not the case for most teenagers. Have you guys ever noticed that most of those teenagers are not taken seriously and are criticized by a lot of adults?
Yes, I do see that a lot on social media.
See, and I believe
Some is
that
subscribed to the
makes the
channel.
teenagers um more insecure and vulnerable. And some of them might think that if they open up to their parents, they would get criticized. They would get criticized by their parents, or maybe ground them, take their privilege, or even worse, kick them out of the house. Additionally, the pressure to conform to idealized standard portrayed on social media creates a gap between generations. So like teenagers nowadays like to try to cope up with the trendy slangs, and some older generations might not cope up and think it's nonsense, or even think that it's rude or disrespectful. So do you guys think it's trendy slangs are disrespectful before I reveal the answer?
Well, I'm not actually familiar with any internet slangs that can be rude, but there's ought to be one out there. And as what you said, there is actually older generations that would probably get mad because they don't understand the internet slang that we've been using.
I think it could be taken as because I think it's similar to using a language that the person doesn't understand, yet you still use it despite knowing that. I think it's something similar to that. Because let's say you're talking to an old person, right? Or your parents, and you use this slang that you know they probably won't know, yet you still use it. So it causes this misunderstanding. It probably seems rude to them.
But
Yes.
I think it depends on slangs because, for example, LMAO, what if they use that to laugh at another person who is older, and they will always think that it's disrespectful for them.
That's true. That's true. Um, yes, it's true that sometimes that there are some rude and disrespectful content in TikTok, and some kids might imitate those actions, and parents have the rights to be worried about their teenagers. Yet some um yet there are still a lot of teenagers that aren't sure whether to trust their parent or not. Therefore, some parents may struggle to understand the emotional challenges that their teenagers face in social media. And I think it's essential for parents and teenagers to find a common ground for open and non judgmental communication. Right? Right, chat? Answer me.
I think it is or will prove effective if the parents and the teenagers try to talk about to be able to fix this problem takes effort from both sides, equal effort, so that they're able to fix this relationship. As all relationships require, it is equal effort from both sides.
Thank you. And yes, anyways, going back to the topic, parents should try to understand and should try to understand the positive aspect of social media as a means for teenagers to express themselves, share their perspective, and share or sorry, to seek support from peers, encouraging an open dialogue about the content they encounter rather than immediately criticizing them or dismissing it. It can also create an environment where teens feel comfortable discussing their experience. On the other hand, I'm not just gonna attack the parents, though. Anyways, on the other hand, teenagers should be mindful of the concerns parents may have and make an effort to communicate their thoughts and emotions more openly. Establishing trust is key, as it can lead to a healthier relationship where parents feel informed and involved without resorting to invasive measures. Now, I'm sorry. Now I'm just talking about how we can fix teen parent relationship. I'm sorry, though this is kind of a good topic because maybe we could help others, right? So maybe we can share some ways to avoid conflicts between teens and parents. So I guess like number one of the ways to avoid this is to try and spend more time bonding with your families. Like for example, maybe you guys are eating at dinner. Maybe you can just like put down your phone and like eat together like a family. And like maybe have a small conversation where it's kind of meaningful and like maybe just try to tell your parents that you love them. Hi. I'm sorry. Okay. And another way is to try um enthusiastic, because like sometimes teenagers have a are like having a small problem that adults might think it's a big problem but it's not. So maybe we could like try to like act enthusiastic like nothing is wrong, and then we could like reassure them na, that there is nothing wrong. Yeah, that's all I think.
I would like to add on the last part. Well, I somewhat agree with what you've said about trying to act enthusiastic. Although, if it is a big problem, I think it would be much better to communicate. Like what Janica has stated, there has to be some fair efforts between the parties, between the teenagers and the parents, so that they could come to an understanding and understand one another in a way that would help them.
If ever the viewers like may have any questions, or if any of us that has any questions or concerns, maybe we could like try and ask each other so that we can delve deeper onto this topic.
So actually, Clyde will be answering your questions since he is the moderator of our. I know he will be answering your questions. Thank you.
Okay. Hold on. How do I make my brother stop watching TikToks while using the CR? Okay, interesting question. I guess the only reasonable thing to do is that you take that phone away. Because who watches TikTok while in CR? Maybe some people do, but it is generally unsafe to do so, and it's bad for your phone. What if the relationship was already broken even before the TikTok addiction? Uh, ha- interesting. Hmm.
I think when it comes to that sort of situation, if the broken relationship started late, I still think it's important to try and solve the problem that came from the addiction, because if you solve that problem, that will lessen the amount of conflict or arguments within that relationship, and could possibly also open an opportunity to solve the broken relationship further.
Okay, how do you stop TikTok addiction and how do I apply this to my brother? Uh, maybe, as I said, try to take the phone away. That's the only thing reasonable to think to do. Try to take it away.
So I would like to add on Clyde's this guy's question at Lafan. How do you stop TikTok addiction? How do I apply this to my brother? Like Clyde have said, you can take away his phone, or you could make him have another hobby that would help him help him stop his addiction from TikTok. Although that might not work, it is probably your best solution on preventing further damage to the brain.
Exactly. Opinion news. Yes. Wag mag TikTok. Okay, next question. Personally, what if a person I know can stop making TikTok videos? Uh, I guess if uh crazy question. Okay. Uh, so the thing is, he or she making TikTok videos uh uh by dancing or singing? Because if you try to take the phone away, you can apply that into real life, therefore making it a new hobby. Just like as Daywat said earlier, to delve deeper, what are the dangers of TikTok and how will it affect you? I guess once you, it's like as it is an addiction. Once you start, it slowly develops that it feeds up your mind. So therefore, uh, you endlessly doing it, trying do it, and to the point that where you can stop na. It's hard to stop.
And I would like to add further stuff from that. So the question again was to delve deeper, what are the dangers of TikTok and how to affect you? So the dangers of TikTok or addiction to TikTok is like what Clyde has said, where actually it's gonna make you endlessly scroll, right? And you're losing time. You're losing time that you could have used to spend with your family, your friends, to focus on studies, maybe even focus on yourself. You could have used that time better rather than watching TikTok. But then again, TikTok addiction is a really hard thing to remove if you don't have the determination to do so. And I guess it can affect you both mentally and physically because if your parents notice that you're not spending as much time with them, then obviously it's gonna hurt them and they're gonna try to talk to you, and that's that talk with them might hurt you as well. But then again, it's all about communication and understanding to one another, and yeah.
To answer Yelia J's question, she said, let's say your parent went through your TikTok and found something said, how can you get them to trust you? Um, I think it's a matter of, well, let's put this into the situation, right? So your parents went through your phone and all that. It depends on what they found, and if what you did was actually wrong or right. If they won't try to talk to you about it, or if they have tried, but the conversation's gonna end there. If you still want to fix that relationship, or if you want to try to, you have the determination, will to try and fix it, you have to take the first step, because if you don't try at all, you'll never really get anywhere. So you have to go to your parents first and really try to talk about it. If try to think about the situations, what's wrong, what's right, and try and fix it, repair it. Try and do something about it. Because if you're just gonna leave it there without try, you'll never really get anywhere.
I see. I see. That is a nice answer, Janica. Thank you for answering that question. Well, here's another question from Atlafan. My brother liked TikTok videos are full of hot Japanese girls dancing. What do I do? I am very concerned for him because he spends a lot of time in TikTok and even stays up late every night. How do I take action? Well, I think at that point you could just destroy the phone. But like in all seriousness, you have to talk to your brother in like a serious one-to-one on each other, because uh I don't think that's proper behavior. So yeah.
Any more question?
To answer AJ's question, was there ever a time you have been confronted by your parents about your excessive TikTok or social media binge? How did you react and handle the situation? So for me, my parents talk to me because I use my phone a lot, which there's a sermon that they did to me because I don't get to spend my time with them. It affected me badly because I didn't know that I was doing that to them, and that's how I'm making them feel. So it made me really guilty that I did that to them.
I see. It's a very nice answer to AJ's question. Are there any more questions that need to be answered? There's one from Juani Mola. If you guys had TikTok addiction, how did you guys control it? Well, actually, I do have TikTok addiction. I still do, actually. Back then, back then, I would maybe use TikTok for around 8 hours a day, which is a lot. And it's not 8 hours like 12 to 8 p.m. It's more like 10 p.m. to like 5 a.m. or something. And obviously that's not a healthy habit, and it's not really a good thing. So I delved into myself. I focused on myself and I said, why do I use TikTok a lot? Is it because I have nothing else to do? Is it because I'm bored all the time? Or is it just because I really liked watching videos? Well, I had the answer to that. And my answer to that was I had nothing else to do in my daily life. And the way I fix that is by finding new hobbies like playing guitar, badminton, like story writing, and many more. And it has actually helped me in my life. And nowadays, I only use TikTok for about, I don't know, like a solid 30 minutes or an hour.
To answer Summer's question, how do you feel about those who have TikTok addiction? Do you feel empathy or do you blame them for having? For me, you shouldn't blame them for their addiction because it's an addiction. They did it for themselves, and it is for sure a deeper meaning for them addicted to social media or using it for an excessive amount of time. Did I answer your question? How about you guys? Do you feel empathy or do you blame them for having?
I think it's not right to blame them, but I do think it's not right to allow them or encourage them to keep going on with this addiction. I think it's better if you don't blame them, but you still encourage them to try and get over it because it won't make you any better if you just let them keep going.
I see. For me, same with all of you guys. I wouldn't blame them for their addiction. Again, I used to have TikTok addiction. Maybe I still do, but I only watch it for an hour. And at the end of the day, it just depends on your point of view of that person. Yeah. And there's another question from Atla fan. Should I let my brother always stay up late at night just to watch endless TikTok videos? Again, I think it is not good. If your brother is, let's say, below the age of 18, yeah, I don't think it's right for him to stay up late because sleep is a very nice thing and it's a very healthy thing to do. So if you could stop him from watching TikTok, then I think that would be in your best interest to do. Oh, he's 18. Well, the same thing still applies. Even if they're older than 18, sleep is still an important thing to a human. And yeah, now I think we're straying farther from our point. So I think this is the best time to end the stream. If there are no more questions, yeah, I think it would be the best time to end the stream now. Thank you guys for
Wait,
watching
there's
our
another question.
podcast.
Walang,
Oh, there's
another
another
question.
question. Okay. One last question.
Uh,
One last
is
question.
smoking and drinking alcohol the same as watching TikTok endlessly?
Uh, well, it's not exactly the same, but they have the same like thing that they do, which is getting addicted. You know, it's like what I've said earlier in the stream, where cigarettes and like substances are kind of similar to TikTok addiction because of the way it stimulates your brain and the dopamine and etc. it gives you. And yeah,
I think
Well, I
that's
think
all. That's good to wrap now.
thank you for watching our stream. We really appreciate the amount of views and the amount of time you've dedicated to us. I think this is a lot better than watching TikTok. I really don't know, but thank you guys.
Thank you for